Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there are today. You're going to see my analysis and my strategy, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, starting here on the daily, EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. I'm starting off a little bit zoomed out just so I can show a few things. Now, as we can clearly see, yesterday we closed out as a massive bearish engulfing candle, and inversely on DXY, of course, it's a massive bullish engulfing candle. So just to show the bigger picture for a moment, you can see on DXY, we're kind of heading towards this previous high here after we mitigated this daily fair value gap now, and just resting above that is an imbalance or price gap, right? And then I see the next high up here as the next major source of buy side liquidity after this high and imbalance, of course. So that's just something I wanted to show. You'll also notice that we are also at quite a divergence in regards to where we are towards this low on EU and how close we are to this high on DXY. So taking these highs and this internal high here, you can see we're nowhere near that point on EU. So there's some divergence there, which we'll get into on a lower time frame. We've retraced down into this. You could call this an order block here as well, because it did have an imbalance and it is a down candle before the up move breaking this previous high. So we'll see what price does around this area. At the moment, of course, very bearish. We've taken our previous daily low, and on DXY we have taken our previous daily high and previous weekly high already. We've taken buy side liquidity above these previous highs. You can see it's causing some sort of rejection there, and you can see here, of course, also we're starting to pull back on this daily candle, but we'll see that clear on the lower time frame. We are still in our discount and premiums, so we'll see what happens there. Let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that looks like. So on the 4 hour, we can see how it played out just a bit more yesterday. We clearly had a bullish open into the day, taking out that, I believe it was the previous daily high, and you can see the buy side liquidity which was swept and mitigated there with this X. Immediately after that buy side liquidity was taken, for the rest of the day we was bearish, possibly showing early signs of a switch of our trend now, because we've now broken below these lows internally. So the 1 hour would probably have a new bearish leg. On the 4 hour, it's not so clear, of course, because we could maybe count this whole move here as a leg. Either way, early signs of a possible bearish leg. Not over quite yet. We can see our SMC divergence from this low to this low and this high to this high here on DXY. To read into that a bit more, of course, that means where EU hasn't made a lower low at the same point, it shows some sort of strength. So it could be short-term strength to maybe pull back to some sort of premium within this internal leg, but either way, indicating early signs of strength. Now DXY, like I said, we have buy side liquidity taken above here. We could take buy side liquidity above here into this POI as well. Now that would provide quite a lot of buy side liquidity, and these are possibly resistance POIs. So if we make this higher low here in comparison to this higher high here, that early sign of EU strength now paints a picture that we could still go bullish from here possibly. Even if it's short term, it gives us some sort of bias with our trading anyway, coming from all of this buy side liquidity and POI. We'll see more of that on a low time frame, so we don't need to discuss it at length here. But we've mitigated all of this sell side liquidity from below here. We have another sell side liquidity low here, and we'll see if we take that. But at the moment, we have that SMC. We are in more of a discount now of these legs here. We've created possible early signs of a bearish leg as well, and we have all this buy side liquidity up here being mitigated and a POI. Now we have left behind on DXY some of these more discounted POIs here. We've got an order block, imbalance, so price may come to fill these. So let's just go down to the 1 hour and see what that time frame shows us. Here on the 1 hour, as I mentioned on the above on the 4 hour, we can see we swept this buy side liquidity, rejected it, bearish day, and we've created now a new lower low after sweeping the buy side liquidity. So we broke below this low and these lows here. So again, yes, new bearish leg, possible signs that we are done with this bullish pullback, even though we still have those premium POIs on the high time frame. We are now in a discount of a new leg. So for me to trade with liquidity, we've taken buy side liquidity above the previous daily and weekly highs. So even from these highs over here, we have our SMC divergence showing strength from this discount and showing weakness from this premium on DXY. We have our bearish leg from here to here. Now possibly we could even include this. Obviously it's a mitigated 1 hour POY, but we still have an order block that was unmitigated towards the bottom here, and it's totally filled the imbalance that was left over. So this is something to take with a pinch of salt, but it is a valid order block and we have spiked into it. So that's another confluence we can add and stack on top of the others, right? SMC divergence, 1 hour order block from the past, right? An inducement low here, which is sell side liquidity as well. So we've taken some sell side liquidity there, and we've taken plenty of buy side liquidity from DXY. So we could see a possible bullish move from these lows here up in towards a more of a premium or equilibrium, whether it be short term or not, right? So we do have some things on our side to provide a bias from this discount. So I think this new structure is clear. I don't think there's loads to discuss on the 1 hour that I haven't already mentioned on the 4 hour. So my priority here is to trade with liquidity, and in saying that, let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities we may have for today. Just before we get started in today's opportunities, it's a bank holiday for most of Europe except for the UK today, because our bank holiday gets moved to the Monday. I'm not sure how much volatility we're going to get during the London European session, so we'll see. Hopefully we do make moves before we start going into the news in the New York session. This is all very corrective and passive. Not much momentum, I guess, in these candles through Asia. So this does look like a buy side liquidity trend line here. So we've spiked into this possible POY of ours. We've swept the sell side liquidity from Asia during Frankfurt and London, which, as we know, sets up a cycle to lead to the other side of Asia. All right, so we do usually take one side of the liquidity and then head for the other side. With our SMC divergence, we're in a discount of this new leg. We've taken plenty of buy side liquidity above here on DXY, and we've swept the Asia lows for sell side liquidity, and you can see we're having a bullish reaction from here. So I think that's good to go with our bias for longs from this area, especially with, as I said, buy side liquidity highs and trend line here. So I could definitely see the opportunity to trade up into these areas. So what would I be looking for? Let me zoom in just a little bit so the annotations will be clearer. So you can see we've already left behind even here a 15-minute order block. So just so the order block isn't too big at the moment for destroying, I'm just going to put it on the last order block here at the lowest point. So we have this order block here. We have sell side liquidity swept to the left. You could count this, especially on the M5 time frame, as a breaker structure. If we go down to the M5, I'm sure it will look more presentable as a breaker structure. So liquidity sweep, SMC divergence, possible high time frame POY, breaker structure, and an order block with imbalance left behind. So that's pretty much my strategy. So what I'll be looking for this morning is how we pull back to this area, right? Nice even number at 6,550, stop loss just above the lows here, somewhere like that, just below the lows, sorry. And we trade up to what I aim for is 3%, of course, but wherever you're comfortable with aiming for, we could get our pullback, hopefully with a bit of correction, so we can leave behind an inducement there and we can trade upwards. This low here as our possible inducement will be below the New York daily open around this area, and I think that looks good as an opportunity with our breaker structure and a possible good pullback. I prefer it to pull back before it takes the other side of Asia, but I think it looks good either way because we are in that discount and we do have such high time frame confluences on our side. Now bear in mind, I've filtered this down to the last of the order blocks in this 2 order block array here. Price may just reject from way up here if you were to take that trade, so you may want to consider maybe 50%. Well, I may want to consider maybe 50% of the imbalance to catch the trade if it doesn't give that deep pullback. So yeah, the risk is there of that. So I think this is my main opportunity I see this morning. So that's what I'll be going for, hoping for that decent pullback at a decent time and trying to avoid that red folder news. Now, if this is missed, or if we think this may not look as good on the pullback, of course we can wait for this second break of structure. If it happens, let's say we pull back from here, we can wait for price to break above that one as well. If it's left behind some sort of POI or something to trade from, and we can catch that continuation when we get our new break of structure here or somewhere like that. Break above, same pullback, same as this, catch a continuation and use the structure to have our order wherever that structural low is there, and aim for going with that bullish momentum still to take this buy side liquidity trend line. So that's what I see this morning. I think those will be the clearest opportunities because I just want to buy from this discount. I don't think we're ready for any sales yet until we're up here in this premium where we've got our 15-minute order blocks and possibly our 1 hour imbalances and order blocks like on DXY. So I hope you gained value from that. I hope that was clear. I hope I explained everything clearly, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you for all the encouraging comments recently as well. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.